EA Games, with Titanfall 3's blood fresh on their hands, is now saying Wakanda never, as the company is now canceling development of a Nemesis system-based Black Panther game. We'll give you the postmortem.
And if that's not upsetting enough, we also learned that Microsoft canceled their planned handheld console. You just can't have anything nice. Let's talk about it right now on Gaming News Weekly. What's up, everybody? It's time for another episode of Gaming News Weekly, the best weekly video game news show out there. Every single Monday, we're bringing you all the biggest news from the video game industry. You can find us on YouTube and podcast services everywhere. My name is E-Rock the Red. As always, I'm joined by this man right here, Mr. Full Clip. What's going on, dude? How's things?
Doing all right, man. You?
I thought you were going to talk longer. I was ready. I took a sip, but it was fast. It was real fast. I'm good. I'm very good. It was a very, very busy weekend. So we're recording this on a Sunday, and I'm just chilling. So I'm sleepy, and I just want to just go lay down, take a nap. But I'm good.
I feel you. I'm not getting much done these days. It's like we're in that stage of it's not quite summer yet, so it's like you can't go swimming, you can't do any of the fun summer stuff. It's just cool enough to maybe get some stuff done outside and not have to suffer.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I did. I did a lot of stuff outside, cleaning things up, doing some gardening, all that stuff, just weeding the garden, which is something that I never, thought the younger me would be like, yeah, I gotta go weed the garden. And it sucks, man. It's it makes muscles that I never use hurt and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a whole thing. And then I did a bunch of day drinking yesterday, and it's just so sleepy. So
well, let the record show that even the most hardcore of gamers such as ourselves do go outside, and occasionally we do touch grass.
Exactly. Yes, we literally touch it and we smoke it and all the things. You been playing any games in between the grass and such?
Just doing that thing virtually with Road Builder still, or Roadcraft. Nice. So yeah, I talked about it last week. It just more of the same. I've got about 60 hours into it so far, and I'm maybe 30% of the way through the game with the little the estimation that PlayStation gives you.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That one looks like a lot of fun. I've doing the same thing, just been playing same games. Monster Train 2, just all in on that, putting a lot of time into that on my Steam Deck. But I did try a new, I like any game that presents itself in a different way. So I tried this new game called Jump the Track, and it's just like a visual novel, but the dialogue choices are done through so you get more choices when you play a pachinko, which is basically Peggle. You familiar with Peggle?
So is that from The Price is Right or something similar like that?
It's the one where you shoot the little ball down and you have to get all the blocks. So it's a classic video game. But so that's how you decide. If you get all of this one color, you get a new dialogue choice. If you get all of this one color, you get another dialogue choice. And you're just going through the story with that as the gameplay. And it's a lot of fun. It's a fun story. It's very well written. The characters are cool. The Peggle thing is fun. And it's just a simple game, and I'm really enjoying that. I love my visual novels, and I love my weird gameplay dynamics. So this was a nice treat. So I recommend that. That just came out a few days ago. It's called Jump the Track. So yeah, check that out on Steam. It's only $8 if that sounds fun. So that's mainly what I've been playing. And then I did get into some of our new releases. So you want to get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Our first new release, Pipistrello and the Cursed YoYo, came out May 28th on all the consoles. This one, initially I wasn't going to include this one, and then I saw the reviews, and I was like, man, we got to talk about this. Because what it is, well, they're calling it a yo-yo-vania, where you could just take any word and put it in front of Vania.
Sure.
So this is a yo-yo-vania. So basically it's a 2D top-down Metroidvania, very much like a Zelda style game, old school Zelda, like Nintendo Zelda. But in this one, your character has a yo-yo that you do like tricks with it. You learn these tricks, and by learning the tricks, that becomes the Metroidvania part. So you can go back and do different things. So there's a whole bunch of tricks to unlock. You have to defeat like these crime bosses. There's puzzles to solve, a ton of collectibles, a bunch of upgrades for your character, for your yo-yo, and that's basically it. That's how you go through it. But it's at an 88 on Open Critic right now. It's getting rave reviews saying that it is such a throwback to early Zelda, and it just plays. It's a treat. So I put it on my wish list, because that's what I needed to hear. Just the name of it, I wrote it off completely. I was like, I'm not talking about Pipistrello and the Cursed YoYo. And then when I started reading those reviews talking about how it is just like such a classic game in a new game, but it's such a classic feel, that I was like, all right, sounds all right,
Yeah. Nice. That must have been like a last minute entry, because I didn't even see anything about this on the list.
It was, dude. I think I put it on there like a half hour ago before we started. So
gotcha.
yeah, if that sounds at all interesting to you, go check it out. I don't know the cost of it. I don't think it's much, but yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. All right, one game I did check out this weekend, To a T, came out on May 28th on PS5, Xbox SX, and then PC. It is available on Game Pass. This is the new game from the creator of Katamari Damacy. We're big fans of Katamari Damacy in this house, so we were all very excited about it. And the basic premise is you play as this 13-year-old boy who is stuck with his arms out in a T-pose. And so it's just like a life sim. You have to go through a day in his life with your arms stuck out to your side. So it's very interesting. The way like they do the like getting through the day, each thing that he has to do is kind of like a mini game. So there's a lot of these little mini games where you have to, lean a certain way on the controller and hit buttons. And then there's like rhythm-based games. But basically, your dog helps you out a lot. You've got this dog that, like, basically, he puts your clothes on. He helps you with the bathroom. So it's a very, very strange game with a lot of strange characters. And some really great music. So it's very much in line with this guy's kind of thing for video games, but it's enjoyable. My son he laughs so hard playing this game, like especially like when you put the characters in the bathroom, you could hit any button and like these strange sounds like come out. It's he laughs so hard. So we're enjoying it, but it's weird.
Definitely some strange trailers to it too. I didn't gain much from watching them. I thought like after I watched the first one, it was all from the giraffe's perspective. The giraffe is a cook of some type. The second one gave me nothing more. It's just weird songs that don't have rhyming words, and maybe that's like a translation thing. Yeah, but I can see how that music's probably going to play out in the game from there. A lot of it's weird, but not necessarily in a bad way.
No, it's fun. It is very fun. It's very strange, but it's a good story about just living your life as someone a little different and having to deal with bullies and stuff like that. So it's a fun game. And then the big one this week, the other game that I've spent way too much time playing, Elden Ring Nightreign came out May 30th on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, SX. My story about this. I wasn't completely sold on getting it. And then I had a couple of my friends that said, okay, we're going to get it. It's a 3-player game. So like you have to play it. And I was like, oh, I don't know. We'll see. So anyways, long story short, I got the game, and I was like, I was putting up a fight the whole way. I was like, nah, this is gonna be dumb, and first got in there, and it is very much just classic from Souls-like combat, that Elden Ring style, and it felt so nice to be back in that world. So the basic premise, for those of you who don't know, it's a 3-player roguelike game with like battle royale mechanics. So you're dropped into on a map, and it's all randomly generated. Where the enemies are, where the loot is, that sort of thing. So you could pull up the map, you could find different areas where there's different loot, different upgrades, and as the time goes by, the ring of fire gets smaller. Classic Fortnite style battle royale thing. So you're going through, you're fighting, enemies that range from very easy difficulty up to, very difficult, like kind of mini bosses that you would find within Elden Ring. And each one gives you different upgrades, different abilities. So the goal is to become as powerful as you can be before the circle gets to its smallest, to the smallest size. And then once that happens, the final boss of the day triggers, and it's like a much harder boss that you and your friends have to beat to get to day 2. And then it happens again. You go through the whole thing again. Everything's a little bit different. Everything's a little harder. And then if you can beat day 2, then you go to day 3, whereas it's like an even harder boss. And then once you beat the 3rd boss, you have, won the game for this part. So, I've only gotten to the 3rd boss twice. We've played for maybe about 5 hours. I've only got to day 2, maybe like 4 times. It is a very, very hard game. So,
yeah.
But I will say that I am very happy that I was talked into getting it. It's a very interesting way to play it. So you have no way to really build your character other than a few little things you could add on. The characters are preset. There's 6 of them that are available right off the start. There's 2 unlockable characters. And they have their, the weapons and everything. You can change your weapons as you find them. You can add different buffs kind of to yourself, but you're not adding strength or anything like that. And then, you're just going through and just trying to survive. It's very strange. It's very hard. I don't know how so you can do like a solo run if you don't want to play with 2 other friends, where it's just, you're out there, but it's impossible right now. I did read that they're putting out a patch that's going to make it a little bit more enjoyable if you want to just play like a solo run and just try to go out there and go through it. So
maybe scale your power, your level up or something if you're soloing.
Something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because right now I think it's just the same as you would be playing if you had 2 other people playing with you, except now you're just playing by yourself.
But some psycho is out there doing it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, on a DDR pad. They already
steering wheel controls. So I got a big question for you on this one.
So let's go. Now I'm done with my talk. Let the question.
Sorry, I think we're on a little bit of a delay, so it's a little awkward going back and forth. So I'll just try to get most of this out at once. So most games would be adding like a battle royale mode as just an extra mode, but this is not a DLC, right? This is its own standalone thing. So I'm wondering, what's the price on this, and do you think it's justified? Does it should this have been a standalone thing, or should it have been a DLC?
Yeah. So the price is $40. So not a full price game, which was one of the things when I was looking at it initially, I was like, man, I'm not paying all this money for this thing. But I do think it's so much more. It's definitely they're just reusing the assets from Elden Ring. So it is just that. It's not, much. But fans of Elden Ring are very much going to appreciate what the game does. It's got, it adds a whole bunch to it. I will say that, I don't know if I recommend it if you don't have 2 other friends, at least one other friend, that plays these games. It's going to play with you. So, we did it a couple times, just a buddy of mine and we got like a third rando. And they were actually turned out to be really good. They were one of those, probably DDR people. They're playing with, a Wii controller. And they carried us, dude. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's because there's no in-game chat right now. It's all, done through pinging it where you want to go. There's no cross-platform play. So it's, you have to be with the people on the same console. So it's missing a lot of features that I think may be added down the line. I hope. But right now, if you're a fan of From Software games, and if you have friends that are also fans, absolutely, this game is so much fun. It's phenomenal. I've been up to 2:00 every night since I got it playing this game. But if you're not a fan of these games, or if you don't have friends, or if you're not comfortable playing with other people, then I'd say it's not worth it. So, yeah, that's my take. Any other questions?
No, I think that's it.
All right. But yeah, it's at an 80 right now on OpenCritic, and it's pretty much everybody is in line saying the same thing. There is a few, stability issues with the gameplay on PlayStation, a little bit on PC. So obviously it's gonna, they're gonna tweak things, getting it better. But yeah, I went from being a naysayer to a yay-sayer, and I'm having a blast. I really want to get in there and play some more. So, all right, that is it for our new release games. Let's get into our news of the week. All right, our word of the show this week is canceled. So that's going to set the tone for this episode here. I don't know, if you want to leave now, fine. But if you want to know what was canceled, stick around because we got it. First up, EA canceled the Black Panther video game, which when I read this, man, it was a bummer. This was one that I have been, ever since I heard about what they were planning with this game, I've been very, very excited for it. So, so not only did they cancel the game, but they closed the studio behind it, Cliffhanger Games, and they're planning to do some layoffs. So EA President Laura Miley said that the changes are being done to sharpen our focus and put our creative energy behind the most significant growth opportunities. And in that, she means Battlefield, The Sims, Skate, and Apex Legends. Those are the ones that she named specifically. Which is crazy that Marvel games, dude, Marvel, like this huge thing, is not part of that. Skate, The Sims, like really? This is what you're focusing on? It's because you're just using the same assets over and over again. You're not creating anything. So yeah, I was bummed. What do you think about this? All this bullshit. Well,
the thing that gets me is this was supposed to use the Nemesis system. That's from Shadow of War series. Yes. They have the patent on that. Nobody else can do it like that. So we're just sitting here waiting for when's the next game that's going to do this so we can get into something we've not really played before, or it's implemented in a new way that would be very interesting to do. They already canceled another Wonder Woman game that was going to use the same thing. So just kind of our last hope. And they're sitting on their hands on this implementing the Nemesis system into more games when they're the only ones who can do it. That sucks. I mean, I'm not even a big fan of Marvel comic book stuff in general. Never seen the Black Panther movies, but I would probably play a game just because it had the system in it.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know. Yeah. I think me and you need to start a company where they can fire their CEOs and board members and everything else. And we'll just come in and advise them on how to make millions of dollars, because I believe we could do it.
We could do it. Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. But yeah, I totally with you, man. Like, this was our last chance for that nemesis with the Wonder Woman cancellation. And then this was, so, you know, Monolith Studios created that. They were working on Wonder Woman. They canceled that. The people from Monolith were here at Cliffhanger Games, and they were using a version of that in the game. And there was this. So if you want to know anything more about this, Bloomberg put out an article talking about the cancellation and the reasons why, and they talk about what the game was going to be. And I just want to read some parts of it, just to, you know, so we could pour one out officially. But they said, you know, there were various playable heroes from the comic books, such as T'Challa, Killmonger, and Shuri, all competing for the mantle of Black Panther, which would grant superhuman strength. The player would take control of these heroes, while the others would become rivals, with whom the player could cultivate relationships, all done through that Nemesis system. And then they would ally against an opposing force of aliens called the Skrulls, which are shapeshifter characters who, like, you put a shapeshifter in a game, you could get anything you want in this game. But some Skrulls could have been imposters posing as allies. Others might have remembered the player's behavior and acted accordingly. So that's where you get like the Shadows of Mordor thing, where they remember you killed their, you know, their friends or whatever, and they're like angry about it. So it's like, yeah, it's a big bummer. And it's like, what even is more frustrating is that the game was making progress. Like in this article, they all talk about like the reason for its cancellation, and it wasn't really clear because they've been going through, you know, using new, I guess they were saying that there was a lot of new people being added. So EA had a ton of layoffs last year. They were doing like hiring, adding people to this. So it was like, it was a little bit more slow going. They got through the section where they were showing off a piece of it, looking for more funding. And that's when it seems to have, you know, got canceled. And even last year, the person who did the head, that Laura Miley or whatever her name was, said that she raved about it, calling it a love letter to fans with all new technology delivering groundbreaking design and storytelling that will actually transfer across many games and studios in our company, dude. These were the glowing words she said about it just last year. And then, you know, within that time, now we're getting our third round of layoffs from EA. It's crazy, dude. This whole video game business, like, it just infuriates me most of the time. So
yeah,
I agree.
Reading these articles this week about cancellations and people who just got hired a month ago are getting laid off. It would make me never want to work in this industry. Mm-mm. And I mean, thankfully, we'll be talking about a solution to that a little bit later in the show.
Exactly. I don't know what that is. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay, yes, I'm excited.
PlayStation Plus.
That is the solution to all things. All right, next up, people can fly. That's it. I'm just telling you. I saw it out the window. There was a guy going down the street. It was insane.
Allegedly in Minecraft.
Yes. Oh, nope. Wait, there's more to that sentence. They canceled 2 unannounced games and signaled there will be layoffs at that studio. So people can fly. They recently put out that Outriders game for Square Enix. They've been working on the new Gears of War E-Day, which the trailer looked dope. So hopefully that, you know, can continue. But yeah, they canceled 2 upcoming projects. One, Project Gemini and Project Bitfrost. I'm not going to read the reasons why. It's just jargon. It's business jargon, basically saying that they didn't have either enough funds or enough interest. But one of them was the Bitfrost game was a upcoming VR game, which, you know, that seems like the writing was on the wall. And then, but Gemini was a Square Enix game that people are thinking that may have been a sequel to Outriders, which some people liked, some people didn't like. I thought it was fine. So yeah, it's a bummer. And yeah, significant layoffs coming. They didn't say, you know, how many or what, but hopefully it does not affect the upcoming Gears of War game. And then an unannounced game using a current PlayStation IP is also said they're being worked on. So yeah, did you ever play the Outriders game?
No, I'm trying to think of what it is. Is it like mountain biking downhill or something like that?
No, it was like that time when we had like Magic coming out of everywhere. It was one of those games, but it was a co-op game, and I know you could like, there was good traversal, cool abilities. I think I maybe played it for a couple hours, so maybe I'm part of the problem.
Yeah.
But
I think it's the industry. I think it's how many games they're pumping out with no like real heart or soul that we just don't remember.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully they bounce back and can continue to get these games going, and hopefully it doesn't affect that Gears of War game, which I'm pumped for. All right, the last time today that we'll say canceled, hopefully. Microsoft has canceled their rumored handheld device, instead choosing to focus on getting Windows to run better on other handhelds on the market. So, again, we never had an official announcement about this handheld. There were really a lot of hints a few months ago talking about this is the next big thing. It's going to come out the same time the next Xbox comes out. So it was exciting, but nothing ever official. But now they did say that don't expect anything in the future with this. They are still working together with Asus on a handheld right now called Project Keenan. So that is still a go. That's going to have the Windows on it, and I don't know how big that collaboration is, what they're contributing or whatever to it. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's strictly a business decision on their end. I've always heard that consoles are usually like a loss leader. You sell the hardware sometimes at a loss to make money back on the software, and they want everything to be an Xbox. So this kind of makes sense. Why do they need their own first-party system to worry about when everybody else will just go and make something better just as soon as they come out with whatever their specs are? So maybe it's a good decision. Leave the console manufacturing to the third party. Make sure that they're running Windows 11 in as many instances as you can, and they're of course going to put Xbox all over that thing. So you'll be running Xbox natively. It sounds like you'd be able to run probably Steam OS and stuff like that too, side-loaded or something. So best of all worlds here.
Yeah, it's true. As long as we continue to get, I don't need to have a Microsoft, branded thing. Like you said, Xbox is everything now. So if they could get that, Windows or just Game Pass to run well on a handheld device, even to have that option to put Steam OS on something as well would be pretty cool. So it didn't seem like it was one of those when we talked about it a few months ago. I was like, I'll believe it when I see it. You never really know. But this was also at the same time when we were talking about everybody was putting out a handheld. So who knows?
Yeah, I think one exciting aspect of this is going to be like, what's Sony's move? Are they going to do a full-on like PlayStation handheld? Because everybody was kind of upset about the Portal not being like a full-on handheld. And I think, with Windows and PC, Xbox, you're getting the best of all of those on these handhelds, but there's no option for PlayStation right now. Unless you have the main console and you use your Portal as like a lesser version of a handheld.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that would be nice if they could figure something out there. All right, let's get into some uplifting news. Also about Microsoft. So Microsoft and Communication Workers of America. This is the name of the union that's backing the Q&A testers at ZeniMax. I feel like we've talked about this for a while. Ever since Bethesda got folded into the Microsoft world, we've been talking about struggles with the Q&A testers throughout a whole bunch of different companies, a lot of layoffs. But this one is about them coming to an agreement for a union. There's about 300 employees in this group of testers, and they have, they've agreed on conditions, terms. So we don't know too much about it, but it does, give them an increase in pay and, more safety in their job. The agreement still needs to go through a bunch of hoops before it can come to a vote sometime later this month. So it's still, not official, but this is like a first for this to happen in the industry with such a it's Microsoft, dude. Microsoft agreed to let part of their employees unionize, which I hope this is, the thing that gets the ball rolling, and we can see it throughout the industry as we're talking the same show about all these layoffs hitting all these studios. This is what we need. This is the stuff that's hopefully going to keep this industry afloat. But I don't know.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
This is a good start, because something needs to happen, obviously, when we've talked about thousands of layoffs over the past few years. And it's not just because it's necessary to keep the companies afloat. I mean, there's like tactics at play here where laying off a bunch of people makes your stock price go up, because now you just lost that many millions of dollars worth of human resources that you're having to invest in. And there's something rotten at the core that the system works that way. So giving these workers protection, letting them know that, hey, if you start this job, you're not going to be laid off in a month because of some, bullshit reasons from up above. Yeah, I mean, it can go too far. I understand the arguments against it. You can have people doing nothing and getting paid for it, but I mean, that already happens anyway. Let's be real. That's business. That's the corporate world.
Right.
But I think, I mean, we're at like a rock bottom low with all these layoffs and the way that people are being jerked around and treated. And I think that's got to stop. I think that's bad for the industry. And if you love video games, you should be on board with developers being happy, healthy, paid well, and taken care of.
Absolutely. With the amount of money in this industry and seeing that, the pay and for some of these people that work, 100 hours a week, and they're salaried, so their pay kind of works out to much lower than they should be getting. So yeah, it's great. I would love to see something over on the voice actors side. I would like to see something going on there, because we are seeing more and more AI come into play as far as that goes. But before, I just want to read some quotes from some of the people involved in this. It was pretty exciting. One person, Paige Branson, a senior tester at ZeniMax, said, QA workers from across the country continue to lead the charge for industry-wide change. Going toe-to-toe with one of the largest corporations in the world isn't a small feat. This is a monumental victory for all current video game workers and for those that come after. Jesse Leese, a Q&A tester at ZeniMax, said, video games have been the revenue titan of the entire entertainment industry for years, and the workers who develop these games are too often exploited for their passion and creativity. Organizing unions, bargaining for a contract, and speaking with one collective voice has allowed workers to take back the autonomy we all deserve. So that's pretty great. And then CWA president said, workers in the video game industry are demonstrating once again that collective power works. This agreement shows what's possible when workers stand together and refuse to accept the status quo. So, yeah, pretty exciting stuff. I'd like to see it expand into having to do with AI and that sort of thing, because that sketchy stuff. Did you see that James Earl Jones, his family gave Fortnite his voice to use like as an AI character in Fortnite?
I didn't see that.
Like, you could talk to it and it has AI responses, so you can make it say like the most ridiculous things. So there's like videos of it saying like skibbity toilet and stuff like that, and it's just James Earl Jones' voice saying that, and it just seems weird, man. It seems sketchy. I don't know. I don't like it. It leaves me with a bad taste. But his family okayed it.
Yeah, I figure he's probably deceased if they're able to like sell the rights.
Exactly.
Just makes me wonder how much they got out of that.
Yeah, I don't know, but it just made me feel yucky. All right, and last up, let's talk about the PlayStation Plus games for June coming to PlayStation Plus. NBA 2K5, Alone in the Dark, Bomb Rush, Cyberpunk, and Destiny 2, The Final Shape are all this month's games. They're available June 3rd. Destiny 2, The Final Shape is available right now. But some good games. I've really been wanting to play that Alone in the Dark. I like the actors in that. It's got I can never remember their names. The guy from Stranger Things, Hopper from Stranger Things, is in it, and then that other chick from Free Guy is in it. So I don't remember. I can't do names. I'm not a names guy. And then Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is always that's a fun one too. So that one I have on Steam, and it's an enjoyable game. As a bonus, then also coming to the game's catalog, if you're an extra or premium subscriber, you get another Crab's Treasure, Skull and Bones, Destiny 2 Legacy Collection, and GTA 3 the Definitive Edition. So yeah, this is all part of like PlayStation's whatever their special celebration thing.
Oh yeah,
Days of Play they call it. So yeah, exciting. Have you ever played any of those games?
Well, Grand Theft Auto 3 definitely, but not the Definitive Edition. I thought Destiny 2 was free to play, but I guess I could be wrong.
Maybe it was. The base game was. The Final Shape was the paid add-on that came out not too long ago. So not a bad get. Not a bad get.
Yeah, of course, tried Skull and Bones. I wouldn't have recommended it in that crashy state that I played it in. But, if I were a PlayStation Plus Premium Extra subscriber right now, I'd probably download Skull and Bones and try it out.
Yeah, check it out. Sure, why not? Yeah, so very cool. And that is it. You got anything else?
One thing I wanted to mention, free this week on Epic Games, they just keep coming with the hits. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, the Borderlands spinoff.
Nice. That's a great game. If you're a fan of Borderlands or fantasy games, that is a fun game to play. Definitely check that one out. So yeah, next week, dude. Next week is going to be a very, very big week. So June 5th, we've got the Nintendo Switch 2 release. June 6th, Summer Games Fest. Sure to be a ton of new games, game announcements, that sort of thing. June 7th, Future Game Show, and then June 8th, the Xbox Game Showcase. So prepare for a extra large show next week. Full Clip, as well as the fans out there. We're going to have a lot to talk about. I'm very excited. I'm having a little FOMO that I'm not getting the Switch 2 at release, but I keep telling myself I don't need it. Wait until they come out with a game. Like, there's no games that I'm really like dying for to play. But anytime there's a big console release, I'd like to be a part of it.
Yeah. I did hear that some people have already gotten their Switch 2s, but like you have to have like a day one patch to make it actually work. So that's interesting.
Oh,
I wonder if somebody's already tearing it down and seeing what the internals are like and probably trying to hack it already.
Oh, sure. There's probably someone from Nintendo sitting outside of their house in a van, just waiting just to make the move. Yeah, so I'm very excited for this weekend coming up. A lot of exciting things happening. So yeah, that'll be an extra large show next week. So yeah, that's all I got. So thank you so much for checking out this week's episode of Gaming News Weekly. Check us out on YouTube at Pop Culture Playground. That's where we host the show. You can see the show full with all the game trailers and our smiling faces. Or you could go to anywhere podcasts are found, type in GNW, and you'll have access to all the episodes of this podcast. Make sure you hit subscribe there so that you'll have it ready Monday morning for when you're heading out to work, or to go do some gardening, or just to play video games. Put on here's a game that I didn't mention earlier, Spray Paint Simulator. Which is I've been playing a little bit on Game Pass, brand new game. Basically just the opposite of Power Wash Simulator. It plays almost exactly like it, but instead of taking things off, you're putting things on. So it's a good game if you want to just have a podcast going and spray paint cars or a bridge. It seems like there's so many easier ways to paint things in this game than just with a can of spray paint. But
right,
who am I to judge? It's fun. All right, and then check us out on socials. You got anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, thanks so much, and we'll see you next week with our super epic ultra episode of Gaming News.